Infinity Q Code. Your curiosity quest starts here.
Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of the Q Code Podcast. We're happy to have you with us. Danny and Travis here today.
Once again.
It's Sick Thursday.
Is that the new name? You got like Hump Wednesday, Opposite Tuesday, because it's usually Thursday. Mm-hmm. But now we got Sick Thursday.
Sick Thursday. But never fear, when one Barnes is down, another one shows up. So we got Stephen Barnes here again with us.
Hello. Yeah, we've had a Barnes on the show. Well, I'm on the show every week, but we've had two Barneses on the show every week except for one. And that was the week Trav Mydell came in.
Yep.
So we either have two Barneses or two Travises. Every episode.
Yep. Well, so we got a good show today. We're going to be talking about what cinematic universe you would live in if you could. Now, we do have some rules with that we're going to be talking about when we get there. But before we get to that, we're going to talk about our quick question of the day. And that is, if you could learn a single skill, Matrix style, what would it be? Now, Matrix style not being like, running on the walls or, dodging bullets, more like...
and you're not talking about like a grid, like a matrices?
Yes, no, not that. God, you nerd. But I'm talking like if you've seen the movie Matrix, you plug in, like you plug a computer into your head, into your brain, and you download a skill like almost instantaneously. What would that skill be? So I'll let you guys kind of run with it, whichever one of you would like to start. Steve, he's our guest. You're our guest. I know this was kind of like sprung on you last second, so if you have any
Danny
input.
did tell me like an hour ago.
Okay. So you had a little bit of
time to think.
Little time to think.
So I was thinking I would have all the medical knowledge downloaded into my brain so that like if my child or it's just someone random on the street like can't breathe and I need to like grab a pen and puncture it into their throat, I would know exactly where to do it. I could save people's lives that way.
So you want to have the medical knowledge so that you could be out in public and just stab people in the throat with pens?
Well, save people. Yeah.
He just walks around with like a pocket full of like hollow Bics, like just bit out the bottom and pulled it out the ink in all of them.
He's just waiting for somebody to choke. It's like, guys, I'm ready.
Some guy like
so many pens.
Some guy just like swallows his spit wrong or something like that. I'm saving your life. Stop.
Don't worry. I got this downloaded into my brain.
More than just people who can't breathe.
We could just stab anybody in the
compound fracture.
It's a good one. It's a very broad skill.
You got a compound fracture in your leg? I'm going to stab you in the throat. That'll help.
It's the only part of the program that he got.
There's just a glitch.
It's just the stabbing.
Is there a doctor in the house? I could stab him in the throat.
With a pen.
I got a pen. No, that would be cool. So
that actually was a pretty good one.
Yeah, I was more thinking of like kind of Steve, the way that my brain was going was kind of like individual type skills, but that is sort of like an individual type skill, but it's very broad, so I didn't think about it.
Steve takes a skill and he's like, I will just get a whole industry worth of knowledge out of it, which is well played. I asked Trav too because I said the same thing.
I can help with that. If you need surgery, I can help with that.
Well, so we're gonna transition over to Danny here, and as we've been doing this, as we have transitioned into our new outline of just doing one topic, we got our quick question of the day, and every time I propose a question, I don't know if I can make them simple enough to where there is not a follow-up question from Danny.
Well, you try to curb it with your own before I could even ask a question. You said, and to clarify or something. What'd you say?
I don't
I'll have to pull it up. But yeah, Trav tried to clarify what his question was, which is simply what he already asked. Like, if you could have one skill, Matrix style, what would it be? And then he quickly wrote another post saying,
Yeah. So I said, I said, Matrix style, what skill would that be? Basically, to clarify, because Danny loves to clarify questions, if you could just plug into a computer and learn any skill instantly, what would that be? So basically what I said here on the podcast. And then he goes, good call, Trav. But I do have one follow-up question. What quantifies as a skill? Like, would my skill be using a video camera to film or learn to create an entire movie?
Is it more definitive as in like, oh, I just learned how to use a video camera for that example, or would I have the skill set to now make like an entire movie? Where Steve took it more in that direction. He's like, I'm not going to just learn how to stab people in the neck. I'm going to learn how to stab people in the neck and perform surgery.
Yeah.
And, cure the common cold.
Yeah, my response to that was, sure, Danny, you make these questions so difficult. If you think it's a skill, then it's a skill. I'm not picky on this one. so yeah, I don't really care. We don't have to necessarily define it. I'm just curious as to, like, if you could download something, like, it would have to be in, like, imagine it in one program, okay? So, like, whatever they could fit on one program, like, so, for example, like...
I mean, is it like a CD where you could fit like 600 megabytes or whatever it was, 640? Or is it like
a DVD?
Yeah, you could fit
oh
a
my
lot
gosh.
more.
No, I'm just more like, I'm sitting there thinking like it would be individualized, like that, like, medical knowledge all on one. Like, or if I wanted to be, an athlete, but I had to pick, do I want to play football? Do I want to play basketball? Because they're all separated into, different categories, essentially.
Yeah.
Maybe look at it as categories, but I don't really care. Like, it's not that big of a deal to me. Like, I didn't really have rules. So,
I mean, I thought about it because actually this was surprisingly more difficult for me to make a decision on than I thought it would be originally. Because honestly, my first answer is like, there's so many skills that I would love to just be able to download to my brain. Matrix style if I could, because there's a lot of things in life that are fairly mundane or things that you want to know how to do, but you don't want to really take the time and the effort to go through like learning how to do them. Mm-hmm. I mean, things like if I wanted to be like a really good cook, like I would love to be able to cook really well, but I don't necessarily want to sit there and learn like the art of cooking because it's not as interesting to me, or how to build a house or how to fix a car or something like that. Like all these things are things that I would like to know how to do, but I don't have enough of an interest in them to go out of my way to spend, years learning, right? But on the flip side, there are skills that more than just wanting to know the answers at the end or how to do it, like there's a lot of skills that I really enjoy the journey of learning how to get there. I mean, for example, like learning how to play poker. I enjoy how, like, step by step, understanding all the components and what connects to what and learning all of that and how that connects to things in other skill sets outside of just that one skill set, if that makes sense. So that's something that I felt like you could only do through like actual experience and learning and not just from one disc. Because like you could learn how to play poker, for example, in one disc, but you could not learn how it connects to the social dynamics between people and how that could translate to the stock market, and et cetera.
That could be put in there. I don't know. Maybe. I don't know the lengths of what programs the Matrix can create.
So, in the end, to answer your question, I ended up with 3 tiers of things.
Oh, good heavens. I said 1. That was the one rule.
Well, I tried.
What one thing?
I tried to pare it down, but... Okay, so Trav, what is the one thing that I have had like more trouble with than anything in like the recent history that that I just complain to you about all the time?
Grammar.
What 2 things? It's freaking social media.
Oh, okay.
I do not get how to monetize or like build a brand effectively on social media. And Trav knows this. The thing I always talk to him about, I'm like, I've somebody that anytime in life, I feel like if I really like work hard at something and I really apply myself and I really try to learn something, right? Like I will figure it out eventually. This is the one thing that it's been so frustrating over the last 12 months trying to create a social media presence for our podcast that Trav, like we cannot crack this code. Like there are so many things. I've read books, tons of books, and I've read article after article. I've listened to podcasts. I've watched YouTube videos, all trying to learn all this stuff. And like there's a whole bunch of stuff out there, but none of it seems to really work. So that would be the thing that if I was just being like, right at this very moment, I just want to know all this stuff, like how this would actually work. That would be what I would do. But if I was really looking at the broader scheme of things in my life, I would rather learn to be a top tier, if I only had one shot at this, a top tier data scientist with fully capable knowledge of how to code things. Because then I could solve all kinds of problems. I could solve how to feed the entire world because it's a complex system. I could...
You're just so noble.
I could solve complex systems like the stock market to a certain degree as far as they can be solved. And do you know what the three-body problem is, Trev?
No.
So it's easy if there are two bodies, like the moon and the earth, right? And how they move in conjunction with each other. Like you can easily model that. But when you add a third body, apparently it becomes like infinitely more complex. And like no computer can really fully solve
Like the moon?
a three-body problem right now. But I would be able to do it because I would have the knowledge and the wherewithal.
So you basically want to plug a cord into your brain and become the Rain Man.
Yeah, well, with the skill sets to know what type of tools to use, how to apply them, what data I'm looking for, how to get rid of the noise, all that kind of stuff is what I would like to do. But if I couldn't do that, then I would pick public speaking.
Okay. Why?
Because I just think it would be cool to be able to reach multitudes. See, I want to do public speaking because I can't do it now. Multitudes of people, but like affect them in a very like emotional way, right? Like not just
Like a TED Talker?
yeah. I just want to be able to connect with people. I want to be able to say the right, as we learned from the last episode, sometimes I don't say the right things at the right moments. Hence what I said to my wife when she was pregnant with my daughter.
Yes,
And I meant it to be like
Okay.
a sweet nothing.
that episode, as at this moment, that episode has not aired yet. It's airing tomorrow morning.
At the moment that we're recording.
At the moment that
this.
we're recording. Okay. So, Steve, you have not heard it.
No.
And I don't know if he's told you, but he basically went up to Liz while she was pregnant with, was it London? And went to whisper sweet nothings in her ear. And the sweet nothing that he whispered to her was, "You look like Quasimodo." Who does that?
The Hunchback of
Yes, the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Notre Dame. Notre Dame.
I mean-
the football team.
I explain it. You should listen to that episode.
Yeah, you should listen.
I didn't say that's a good explanation, but I tried to explain like what happened and why. But like basically, yeah, sometimes I'll say stuff that I don't mean to say. They just come out. So I would like to have the ability and the power not to do that and to know when to say the right things in the right moments. And honestly, I would like to go to a party and just like blow people away with my like conversational abilities to the point where they'll be leaving and they'll be like, I don't know who that guy was.
This is he just shows up at a party. All right, let me work my magic. I know how to do public speaking. Now this is
But like, no, I just wanted to be like, I don't know who that guy was, but he freaking changed my life with the knowledge that he just dropped on me in such like a smooth, like very directional, but very poignant, but like very appropriate way.
So you don't think your podcast listeners think about that every time they listen to your podcast?
No, yeah, probably not at all.
But if you do, then let me know so that I can then focus on one of these other two things if I've already accomplished
That's
it.
what's funny. He's like, if I could do anything, I would understand the inner workings of like all the data and how to manipulate and blah 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 blah, and or public speaking. One of those two
would be a much smaller disc.
Yeah. Yes, one of them would be a lot less storage. But
How about you, Trav? What would you do?
well, mine's kind of like lame now because I didn't go in that deep. But I mean, I've always just wanted. Okay, Steve and I, when we got into junior high, we decided that we were going to play an instrument.
Yeah, didn't you play the trumpet?
Played the trumpet. Steve played the trumpet for a day. When he played the trumpet, his tooth fell out. So the vibrations.
I didn't remember this, but just so you know, like kudos, because I also played the trumpet for one day when I went into 7th grade, but I just the reason I quit was because I could not make the reed go like
Okay,
The reed. There's no reed.
Trumpets
on a
don't
trumpet.
have reeds.
whatever that thing is. Like you're supposed to be able to make your lips vibrate in a way or something, and I
just in
couldn't
the-
do it.
Just in the mouthpiece. and
So
the-
my teacher just came up to me. He's like, "Can you not do it?" And I'm like, I was like, "No, can I do drumming?" And so that's how I started drumming in band.
and Steve's tooth fell out, and then he
That's how I
started
started
drumming.
drumming.
And then, but the thing is, like, I didn't know this because we were supposed to show up to summer band. Sounds so lame, but summer band.
Summer band camp.
Yeah, and so we show up. I show up, and Steve's not there. And he later on I call him like, "What happened, man?" He goes, "I was playing and my tooth fell out, and so I can't do that anymore. I'm playing the drums." I was like, "Man, I wanted to play the drums. I didn't know that was an option." But anyway, so I got stuck playing the trumpet, but not necessarily a band, like an orchestra instrument. Like I would love to be musically inclined. Like I don't have like the worst voice ever when I sing. It's not great. There's definitely worse people though that are out there.
That's a fair assumption. You're one of like 7.5 billion people on Earth, and you're like, I'm pretty sure at least one.
All I'm saying is I'm not the worst.
Yeah, I would take that bet for sure. Like, there's
So-
got to be one worse.
And it's not even necessarily singing, but I feel like so much opportunity would open up for creativity and things like that just if I could play an instrument.
Yeah.
And so I was thinking like, well, what instrument? Because like I thought about kind of like going the direction of like, hey, why don't I just download all instruments? But then I kind of defeated the point of like picking one thing. And so I really so I was kind of going back and forth between the guitar and the piano, and I'm gonna stick with the piano because
then you could do dueling pianos.
dueling pianos. There's just a lot. Like I was actually talking to my buddy at work, and he's kind of inspired me on this because we were talking, kind of going back and forth between the two, and he's saying like, yeah, but like with the piano, you could do something such as like classical all the way up to pop and rock.
Yeah. No, I mean it's a very versatile instrument.
So. And it is super complex to me. Like, I mean, I get it. There's however many white keys, black keys, and my fingers don't do that.
Remember, they're like Fibonacci numbers.
That's true.
There's like 8 white keys for every 5 black keys.
But I would just love to be able to play it. I don't have to sing. I don't have to have the gift of voice. But if I could at least,
this is what you could do. You could play the piano, and with my public speaking ability, I'll like at least be able to speak very smoothly into the mic.
I can't sing, but I know how to talk, and I will talk this song.
And then as the girls pass out from our amazing playing and talking abilities, Steve can shove pens in their necks to revive them.
They're suffocating. They're passing out. I got it. But cool. All right. Well, we'll post this. Well, obviously the post will probably be there before this airs. So if you haven't seen the post, go check our social media and because we'd like to know what your skills would be. So let's move on now to our main topic, which is what cinematic universe would you live in? extremely long. Yes. I don't know why I let him pick these, but
But you have to admit, these are all good movies. So there's like a little taste of movies from like 1974 through 1985.
But see, that was like kind of like a perfect intro.
I know, I was
'cause
gonna
just
say that.
talked about playing the piano.
So for anybody listening to this, I had no idea that was what Trav was going to pick for his skill that he would like to learn. I randomly picked this because I thought it was cool, because it was just kind of like all these awesome movies all composed into like 1 minute of sound, but it happened to be on the piano. So well done to myself.
Kudos to me. High five to me.
So we should get into this. So Trav, this is your brainchild, I guess. So maybe we can quickly go over the parameters that we.
All right. So
loosely
some of the
set
things that we,
around this.
this is very loosely set. Like I said, there are kind of some rules, but when we're talking about which cinematic world would you want to live in? Like, there's really kind of like when you're thinking about it, two kind of, options. These are movies that we've all seen. So first off, we wanted to kind of narrow the field from just any movie to, in order for it, in this case, to qualify for this, for it to be a universe, it needed to have
three or
more movies.
installments. So it could be a trilogy, a quadrilogy,
So
a
on.
quintilogy,
Sextilogy.
a septilogy.
Yeah. So that
Steve said septilogy, but he was about 45 feet from the mic at the time.
So that's the first rule. Then the other thing that you're thinking of is like, okay, well, if I'm living in this movie, like there's a lot of movies that you like, but one, am I just a random person like I am now? In that case, like, how would that be? Is there, would I even want to live in a cinematic universe if I'm just some bystander, just normal person going to work every day, nothing crazy? Or the other option is just being thrust in as either the main character or a main character.
Yeah. So basically, has to be a trilogy or more, and you can either pick one based on the fact that you're basically an extra, just somebody that's in the universe, but that wouldn't necessarily stick out, I guess. Or you could be the main catalyst or main character or one of the main characters, and what your life would be like in that world in those cases. So, saying that or knowing that, how do you want to go through your choices? How do you want to break it down? I have some like notable universes. I think you said you might have.
Yeah, so I kind of broke it down to like my top 5. I definitely have my like. When we originally talked about this, we were saying, okay, well, which one would it be? But the conversation might not go as long if we're just talking about just one option. So
and they're like, one could be good to be a main character in, but one could be not so good to be a main. Yeah, it just depends on what your goal is for that particular universe, I guess.
Yeah,
but I think, Steve, did you have any notable ones? I know you were basically told an hour ago, so I don't blame you.
Yeah, we can start with you.
Notable,
like not your main answer, but just like runner-ups.
Like, because you said that you had a couple, right?
I'm thinking about a couple.
So, is there one that you look at as really more your main choice over the other?
Yeah. So my runner-up.
Yeah.
I was thinking about like Jurassic World, Jurassic Park.
Ah, okay.
Because I don't know, I think it'd be cool to with dinosaurs.
So would you want to be thrust in as a main character, or just kind of live in that world, just knowing that there are dinosaurs that exist?
It would be better to live in the world where I know that the dinosaurs are contained to like a certain park, and then you can go visit them. Mm-hmm. But it wouldn't be so cool if they're. I think this upcoming Jurassic World is like, from what I've seen, the dinosaurs are out.
Yeah, well,
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of how the last one ended. So it's like, well, now it's
So you don't want dinosaurs.
it's becoming Planet of the Apes, but with
Yeah,
dinosaurs.
you don't want dinosaurs to be like deer. that are
Yeah,
just
because
roaming
that would be a
around.
little bit too dangerous for me and my family.
See, I thought about this, and I like the idea because I mean, who doesn't like dinosaurs, right? I mean, dinosaurs are amazing, but
Well, mammals, I don't think love them back in the day, even though we are mammals.
I'm talking about human beings. Okay, Daniel. So, yeah, dinosaurs are awesome. I would probably, this was on my list of, I would probably choose to just live in the world rather than be thrust in as a main character because it would just be like,
Yeah, because if you're a main character, you have a good chance of getting
yeah,
eaten.
it would just be one of those things where I'd be like, you know what? Yeah, dinosaurs exist. I'm never going to that place because they have yet to figure out how to not let them escape.
Okay, so it's funny enough, but I think basically, yeah, if someone brings up a universe that you had on your list, we should just talk about it all. At the
Yeah,
same
'cause then
time,
we just repeat it.
So Jurassic Park was actually a universe that I said would be a bad universe to be an extra in. So Trav has already said it's a bad universe to be a star in, but I think it would be a bad universe to be an extra in. And that is because, for the same reason that you just said, is that for some reason, no matter how much money people throw at this project, they can never contain these dinosaurs. They isolate them on freaking islands.
Okay.
But somehow they still escape.
I guess
And
my
then
point is-
if you are an extra, you are like, you have two choices. Either A, never visit the dinosaurs, in which case your life is exactly like it is in our world. And so what's the purpose of moving? Or two, go try and see the dinosaurs and you will most certainly be eaten because you're an extra.
No, see, the way that I'm that I'm seeing this is kind of. I was telling you this earlier. Like, I don't know if I necessarily want to be an extra, like just like a normal person in another movie, if it changes my whole life. Like, if I'm gonna change my whole life, I'm gonna be a main character, and I want it to be awesome.
But would you know that you were the main character? Because if you were just thrust into that universe, say like we're in a universe that's on film.
You're
right
getting
now,
too deep into
how would we know
Getting too deep.
that we're stars or just
Well, you
extras?
wouldn't be unless you were basically training the dinosaurs or working there.
All I'm saying is,
Yeah.
it's kind of a cool world to live in. We don't live in a main like right now. We're in Utah, so we're not like in California. We're not in New York or wherever these main cities that these
The
movies
dinosaurs
tend
would
to.
attack there first.
Yeah, of course. Well, they're bringing them over. Like, what was it in the second one?
Yeah, they brought over the
California,
T-Rex.
Los Angeles.
They had the baby
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, I'd be there sitting on the couch, flipping through channels and be like, oh, dinosaurs got out again. Hey, honey, did you see this? Yeah, bunch of Tyrannosaurus Rexes are eating people again. This is... When are they going to learn?
It's true. It's like we have actual zoos in this world, and it feels like the dinosaurs would be like way higher priority to keep in captivity or whatever, like where they can't just roam free. But yeah, they would every few years. It's just like, well, we have another major escape or whatever. So it would be. Yeah, I agree, but that's why I wouldn't want to be an extra because I would be like very expendable.
You're a minority, so...
Yeah. So I would definitely be like in the situation where I was sitting on like in a porta potty, just unexpectedly, just a T-Rex will just come and just bite me in half.
You'd be a guy in the lab with a lab coat.
Oh yeah. And I'd be like, well, we need more bullfrogs. That's the only way to get the DNA to cross-germinate.
Do they do that?
Yeah,
Okay.
something like that.
It's like...
they need current animals' DNA to like fully get like the DNA that they extracted from the mosquito that was in the amber.
Yeah.
To get it to be like a full strand because it was somewhat like corroded or something like that.
All right. Well, what's your?
Don't you listen to these things?
I don't. I don't. Well, I don't pay attention to those things. But
I think they even had a video. It had
might
like
have.
a little DNA character. They sat in a little ride with John Hammond.
that was in the first one.
Yeah,
huh?
and they
that's
had a
right.
little cartoon video that
It's
explained
like,
it's
and
true.
then you get dino DNA.
Yeah, exactly. But they explained it like, and they had like pull it from different, like a bullfrog or something.
Yeah,
like that.
I remember that.
But all right, so do you want to go with a also not an also ran notable universe, or do you want me to jump into one of my notable universes?
You can jump in.
Okay, so one of my notable universes was the Avatar universe, and it was notable because it does not qualify. Because
is
it
true.
is
I was gonna
only
say-
a single movie,
It will be.
but it's supposed to be a trilogy eventually. But with James Cameron, who knows? That'll probably be like in the year 2050, 2055-ish. But the only reason I thought that it would be like a super cool universe is because like I think the aesthetically it looks like awesome. Like it
Yeah.
looks amazing. And then on top of that, just like the ability to basically go meet and commingle with this other intelligent species, get to know them, and like I know it's kind of sappy, I guess, but I do really like the whole concept of how this other species, I can't remember what the species is called, the blue people, the giant blue people, but
The main characters.
yeah, but I can't remember like what their species is
the
called.
giant blue people.
I don't know
But
if they ever say what they're called.
I think they do.
Yeah, they
but-
do.
They?
Yeah, but
Avatars?
anyway,
No,
I mean,
it's called Avatar
because
because
you go
a
into an
dude
avatar.
is controlling.
One of those like a makeshift one or whatever.
Yeah.
But is like how they connect with nature. You know, like how they can like connect their braid with like an animal and it symbiotically controls the animal and like they have a relationship or whatever with it. So anyway, that was just like a quick side notable universe. How
I
about
actually thought about that. Just being, I kind of looked at that as like, if they did make the trilogy, that would be something that I would like to live in, almost kind of like a side, like a side character, but like obviously I'm in that world, you know.
like would you like to actually be a character that
Yeah.
controls an avatar of one of the blue people?
Or just be
be a
one.
blue people.
Let's just be a blue people.
Just be a person.
I'll just be a blue people.
You can no longer live in the tree because it's destroyed. That was the other cool thing. I don't know why I love giant trees.
Love giant trees.
So I just think it would have been super cool to like go visit that tree that was like a freaking city. But
All right, here is one of mine, which was Toy Story.
that's one I didn't think of.
So, Toy Story, this is one that obviously wouldn't be my main pick. This is pretty much the end of the spectrum. But just being a toy and just kind of living like you have like no care. Like, I mean, other than like you don't want to be lost. Right, that's like the biggest thing. You're like, don't lose me. Like, don't kick me
Like,
under
you
the
just
couch.
wanna-
Don't kick me under the couch.
you just want to belong to a child.
But like, one question I've had is like they like get swept under like the couch, or whatever, and then they just lay there and collect dust. I'm like, dude, nobody can see you. Just get up and like kind of shimmy your way out until they can see you. But no, I just think it would be cool to be a toy and just to live in that world where, like all you're doing is just like, you're playing all day and you're just like this make believe and all that stuff. So I just thought it would be fun.
Like you said, I mean, it is very, very interesting how they make very simple concepts very complex in that movie. But coming from, because like, yeah, you think it's just a toy. How do you even make 4 movies out of that, right? But
Oh, yeah.
they did a really good job of writing the script and building a universe, like you said, that you can be a toy and you have these full-on adventures and these thoughts, and even though they're super simplistic, but yet they're like super heartfelt, if that makes sense.
I think that would be like the most boring though, because 95% of the time nobody's playing with you.
Well, yeah, but if they're not there, you're alive. I mean, it's
But
when
can
they're
you-
playing with you that you're like just loose and just flopping around.
But can't
Like that's the worst part.
so you can freely move around and mingle with the other toys when
Yeah.
there's
When there's nobody around. Just,
That's how the movie works.
have you seen Toy Story?
yeah,
Like
but
any of them?
It seems like there's some toys just like sitting in a box.
Is this like the Clean Flicks version where
Well,
all
this
Steve
is-
sees is just only when the kids are playing with the toys? The rest of the time,
That looks so boring. Toy Story's dumb. Well, yeah, there are, and that's what I was saying. I was like, they're so weird. Yeah, they're thrown into a box, and I guess that's where they're supposed to reside. So, like, there's this whole thing about toys that are being played with and toys that aren't being played with.
Yeah,
you
if
know,
you're in
but like,
storage, do you get to just like still mingle or
well, yeah, like nobody's
you
around.
Can only
You like,
mingle in a box. You can't get out of that
you
box.
can get out of the box. I'm sure you can get out of the box.
You just have to be able to
I
get
thought that
back
was
in the
against the
box.
like
Yeah.
toy rules.
No, I don't know the toy rules. I'm just saying it'd be fun to be a toy
If you watch the movies, they are getting out of boxes all
all the time. All the time.
I haven't seen the latest one, but I've seen the other three.
You should go back
if you
and
were
watch
a kid,
them.
if you were a kid in that universe, you're assumed to be dumb.
Yeah.
Because honestly, if it was a little bit more realistic, like in our universe, say like our toys actually did that, at some point you'd be like, I know for a freaking fact, I did not put all these toys here. And, like, because they just drop wherever they are.
I know. So he's
Yeah,
like,
we
I don't
walk
know
in.
where my toy is. I swear I put him right here in my bedroom. And then he's like laying out in the rain.
I would start like setting traps and like setting up little dust on my floor and see if it moves or something.
Yeah. You mean if you were a child?
Yeah.
Like, I swear they're moving.
So did you have any other notable ones, Steve?
Well, the one I was thinking, I only had time to think of like two.
Don't do your main ones. I'm just saying if you have any notable ones.
Not really.
Okay.
So another notable one I had was Pirates of the Caribbean.
That you would want to be a part of?
Yeah, and that is because, again, maybe this episode is really highlighting the fact that there's just a lot of things that I really like think are cool and really.
So he
highlight-
likes big trees.
Yep, I like big trees. I like big blue people. But I seriously like. There's just like a little belly tingle I get whenever I like think of like the life of a pirate. Like I just think like I have an affinity for piratism, I guess. Like it's
I was at a job fair today. There's this kid who's walking around with an eye patch. You would have loved him.
but I think it's just because I mean, especially like Pirates of the Caribbean is like did a really good job with it, right?
Well, the first one did.
Well,
mostly,
yeah.
but-
But like that universe that it's set up is just like this whole like exciting, always adventurous, and I would want to be a main character in this world. But you're always just going and like looking for like different like artifacts or treasures or different things like that. But there is a downside that I thought of, and that's why it became a notable one, is because as much fun as that would be, I think after a while it would get wearing and tiring on me. And then at the same time, there's one part of it that I know just my personal my personality would not deal with well, and that is they seem very unsanitary. And I feel like I would be sick all the time. And
Probably.
so I wouldn't want to really like. So that's why I cut it out of being one of my.
There is no showering whatsoever
And you'd have to be on
when
a
you're a
boat.
pirate. And yes, you'd have to
Be
be
out
on a boat like all
on
the
the
time.
sea.
Yeah, and maybe if I got because I have been seasick on a cruise before, so maybe that's why. Ultimately, I had to ex-nay it for my main.
So I
list.
was trying to think of a universe like in the Middle Ages. 'Cause I don't know. I think that would be kind of cool if you were. But I
Except
would
for the
want
plague.
like what's that? Shoot, that movie. That's a book. It's like The Hobbit is the prequel to Lord of the Rings. That's
How do you not know Lord of the Rings?
it. Just spaced it for a second. I was
Was
just
it-
thinking of
was it-
something that had like castles and stuff.
So the only thing I was thinking of is like Harry Potter, but then it's not really exactly the same.
no.
it's not medieval.
That's has a castle. and magic and wizards, but
Yeah, but
I
I,
was
guess
thinking
it's
like,
current time.
but I would want to be. I would want the knowledge I have of like current technology, because then I feel like I could I could use that to my advantage.
So basically,
in that time period.
You want to be. What's that movie? So the kid in King Arthur's Court.
I'm thinking
Is that the one where he has
The
like a
kid-
Walkman or
Yeah,
something?
yeah. Like
yeah.
he's basically a little league player. It's the it's the kid
That's probably where I'm getting
from
these
Rookie of the
ideas
Year.
from.
He's this
Yeah.
little league player, and then he just happens to go back in time, and he's got all of his stuff with him. So he gets the blacksmith to make rollerblades.
So do you think that
Yeah.
kid just always got handed scripts and stuff, and they always started off, all right, you're playing Little League.
I know. It's like, come on! After Rookie of the Year, he got typecast. It's like, you're only playing Little League right now. But, yeah, unfortunately, that doesn't qualify because there literally was only one kid in the Court movie. So, another notable of mine was Spider-Man. And
like the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, or
I mean,
that
technically,
that one had
the others,
three, so that one qualifies.
yeah. Well, Spider-Man's
Or you
in
could be
the other.
You could be in the Marvel universe
Eh,
because that all combine. Like
it
that's
all
all
doesn't
one
matter.
universe.
Like it doesn't really matter. I would just be Spider-Man. But the reason why it's notable is because one, like I think it would be awesome to be Spider-Man, but I'm afraid of heights, and that's kind of important. And two, I feel like there's like a lot of like responsibility with it. So
I don't know how you're getting that, but
with great
probably
power,
because you have great power. Is
great
that-
power comes with responsibility. I'd like to be a lazy Spider-Man and just kind of just do cool things.
Well, have you seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, like the cartoon version that came out
Yes.
like a year ago?
Yes.
See, like that one Spider-Man that comes through the
lazy
portal,
one?
he's kind of lazy. Like he lost his girlfriend or whatever.
Yeah, but I don't want to be lazy because I'm depressed. I just want to be lazy. So, but that was that. We don't have to go really much into that one. I mean, of all that's the only superhero one that I have.
Yeah.
This is I think Spider-Man is my favorite. I mean, Marvel character. And then, but yeah, I would take his superpowers.
I mean, I could see how it'd be fun to like swing from building to building
So
and be able to like scale walls and stuff.
whenever here in the state of Utah, we have an amusement park called Lagoon, if you are unaware of that. And there is a ride called Wicked, and it basically you're at a standstill. It's a roller coaster, and it just takes off. And you're going like, I don't know how fast it is, 60 miles an hour or whatever, and then you just shoot straight up and then straight down. And I always like to pretend I'm Spider-Man. When right before I stick my hands out, I'm like, psst, psst. But then I realized that like I would be a sucky Spider-Man because this is freaking me out. Like I get scared of heights.
Yeah. Someday you should go to Magic Mountain. Six
I have.
Flags Magic Mountain. Have
Many-
you been on their X2 ride?
Yes, it is crazy.
Oh my gosh. That is the one ride that I like almost cried on in my
It
life.
throws you around.
And you have no idea where and why and
Yep.
why your body is moving in two different directions at once.
Yep.
And yeah, you should try it if you haven't before and let us know how it goes.
I'm still trying to make it on Wicked.
You haven't done
I
that?
have season passes and I have not gone on Wicked yet.
Okay, we'll go.
Yeah, we gotta have. Yeah, we gotta. We'll talk about this later. This isn't for.
Yep.
Okay. Do you have any other notable ones, Steve?
No,
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 my
he
main
just has
one.
the one main one.
All right. So another notable one I have is Indiana Jones.
That's my next one.
Is
So
it?
might as well just
Okay,
talk
we'll
about it.
talk
Yeah.
about it. So this again, I think the reason that I put it as notable, something that I originally was like, yeah, that would be kind of fun, is it harkens back to the whole idea of treasure hunting and solving mysteries
And riddles
and
and
riddles and
A little
going
bit more
through
sanitation.
And, yeah, a little bit more sanitation,
A little bit more.
But yeah, like it just seems exciting and fun. I know I feel like we vaguely talked about this before.
We have.
Where we were basically saying, but like technically like 95% of Dr. Jones's life is probably just spent like at the university teaching
Yeah.
and not as exciting. But I would like to be in the exciting parts with one caveat is I think I would get sick and tired of a universe in which I just kept running into Nazis. It's just like they are always involved in everything.
Good Nazis.
Just everywhere you go. You want the you want the Lost Ark? Nazis are there. You want to go find the penitent man will pass. What is it?
The Holy Grail.
Yeah. And the Nazis are there. I mean,
Well,
I guess there wasn't Nazis in the second.
That was
one,
like
but-
the time.
What about the Temple
Frame,
of Doom?
yeah.
That one didn't have. Was that the
No,
second
but
one?
that had Kalima, the stupid guy that,
Yeah, that was a
freaking
freaky one.
grabs
Like,
your heart,
rip your
rips
heart
it out of your chest, and you're still alive, and then drops you into a lava pit. But
One of the worst parts of that, though, for me would have been like, I feel for that girl who's like had to reach her hand in with all those.
Oh, yeah.
bugs
Yeah.
and had to like pull the lever or whatever.
Yeah.
I would have hated that too.
Didn't they have to eat monkey brains?
well, yeah, well they don't have to, but that's,
That's
like
what they serve.
yeah. Oh, that would be gross.
Yeah.
I would have starved to death.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was mine.
Did you have any other?
One other one before my main
well,
one.
like I was gonna say any other reasons for.
Oh no,
Did
just
we
kind of the
cover
same
it?
thing.
Okay.
Like love. I mean, seriously, adventure, and I mean, we've kind of talked about this in
the video.
the video game one. Is that my favorite video games are Uncharted, which is basically like Indiana Jones and Tomb Raider. Like all
The funny
mixed.
thing though, when the fact that it's called Uncharted and the way you said that, if you had no idea what video games, because I
That's
know
the name of the game?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the name.
Oh, I thought you said you just like Uncharted games.
Yeah,
No, that's
Yes.
it's called
That's
Uncharted.
exactly what I was getting at. Is like somebody who's listening to this that doesn't know what that game is, they'd be like, he just doesn't want to commit to anything. He's
No,
just-
it's four.
my favorite games are
It's a series of
Uncharted.
4 games, and he's
Why do you
just-
need like sequels if they're just Uncharted? Wouldn't the first one just cover everything because Uncharted?
what?
It's like if it's
Like, there
Uncharted,
is
there's
no
just no
boundaries.
direction. So like, how can you have a sequel if there's no direction to begin with the
We're just
game?
talking about each one. He's finding a new hidden treasure.
That seems charted to me. Anyway,
He's making it charted. It's uncharted before he finds it. Stop! Don't
Agree to
ruin!
disagree.
Don't ruin my game.
I can see where both of you guys are coming from, and it's kind of comical.
But
'Cause
anyway,
I don't have to be the one that has to point out that portion of it.
it's normally you.
So, okay, did you have one more unnotable or?
Yeah,
just
one more unnotable, which is Back to the Future.
What the?
that was my
That
main
w-
one.
Is that your main one?
That was my last notable. We had two. We had
High five.
Wow, this is just crazy, guys.
Okay.
So, what is your reasoning for Back to the Future? And then,
I mean, come on. Time traveling in a flying DeLorean. Come on. It's amazing. Like, I mean, understandably, I wouldn't like to get into the predicaments that Marty McFly does, but the ability to just kind of go back and just see what's going on or go forward and you know, just kind of, even if it was only just to kind of peek in on yourself or like your parents when they were younger or anything like that, you know, it would just be interesting and it would be fun. But I also understand the risks, and that is why it is a notable.
so I think from what you're saying, like you, and because this is the same thing with me, is like you would want to be the main star.
Yes.
Or a main character, because in Back to the Future, if you're not a main character,
You have no clue.
You are unaware that time travel is even possible. And at best, if you even noticed it, your world just kept changing right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And you would have no reason, you would have no understanding of why. I mean, if, for example, his dad felt like could see what happened around him, but didn't know why,
Mm-hmm.
he would go from being like, I'm like this loser dude that works at this job, and my boss is freaking Biff, and he makes me do all of his work, and he crashes my car, and I have to fix it, to all of a sudden like, I wrote a really successful sci-fi novel, and
Biff is now buffing my car.
yeah, like things would change, but you wouldn't know why.
Yeah.
But I think we should give Steve, since this is his main one, like, what do you think? Like, why did
I
you
was
pick
just
it? And what
thinking
are you picking
that-
this as your main one that you would
Because this
enjoy
is
to live in?
Yeah, this is the one I would enjoy living in if, you know, you had the knowledge of the movies, so you know how to kind of navigate it and not mess up. But then you could just travel. I mean, every day could be different. You could go wherever, whenever you want. Go to the Wild Wild West. You could go back to the Middle Ages. It's basically covers
So
everything. I could go back to
could
the
finally go back to the-
dinosaur times.
with the technology that
with
I
the technology.
have.
So it kind of meets all of my criteria
Criteria.
that I had.
But here's the other thing, and this is what I was thinking about. Part of why I made it my notable as well. And I never really thought about this before until we started doing this exercise. But when Marty McFly travels back in time, does he ever travel anywhere but the town that he's from?
No,
He's always in Hilldale, right?
Yeah.
That's what's called Hilldale?
Yeah.
I think so. Maybe.
So I mean, the cool thing is you can travel to any time frame in Hilldale, so it's
But
kind of
not
like traveling
anywhere.
But it's not really
necessarily.
anywhere.
Well, he could have driven his DeLorean somewhere.
Well, yeah, because the thing is that the time machine doesn't take you different locations. It just takes you same spot, different time.
So you just have to drive the DeLorean.
So yeah, I guess if you're like, well, I'd like to know what China is about that time. We're going to have a long DeLorean flight. We're going to need a lot
See, you could just
of garbage for
time-
Mr. Fusion.
time travel to like future Hilldale where there's flying cars, fly yourself over to China, and then go back in time.
See, and they never say that that's not a possibility in that universe, but they never say that it is a possibility in that universe. In some weird way, that universe may just be Hilldale because you never see anything outside of Hilldale.
Plus, though, you could also live like a king because then you would do the sports betting thing and you would be
That's true. I would enjoy that.
Danny would create so many alternate timelines. It would just be crazy. So many Gray's Sports Almanac flub ups. But
Eventually I'd get it right, but there would be a lot of alternate timelines on my way to getting there. But yeah, it's just I found it interesting. It's just something that I've never personally talked about. I'm sure it's been pointed out before by other people, but I've never heard anyone talk about how the fact that you can only like in all the movies, they literally have 6 hours of content all in the same exact town, just in different time frames,
yeah.
So it's just kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. Do you have any other reasons, Steve, of that's why you picked it, or
No.
okay.
Like I said, I had about an hour to think about. Well, less than an hour to
He
think about.
inhaled as like he had some. He's like, no.
All right, I didn't have any more notables. Did
Nope.
you, Trav?
Nope,
Okay,
I-
so we should get into the meat of this.
Yep.
Do you want to start?
Yeah.
Okay.
My number one, one that I would definitely live in, and this is not as an extra or just like, I call them innocent bystanders, just like somebody that was just there. It would be a main character.
Why do they have to be innocent?
I don't know. I didn't know what to call him, so it was just like somebody who just like, he has no part in it. He's just innocent. He's like, but he's there. So, and that is Star Wars. So,
Well,
is that your number one?
you're a little jerk.
So we got our top three exactly the same.
So explain. But you said go ahead and explain.
Okay, so
yours
Star
now.
Wars, because I would come in. I'm only going in to Star Wars as a flippin' Jedi. Okay, now you have to live the life. Okay, so this is sad, babe. I'm sorry. If I'm going to Star Wars, I can't be married, but I can't have children. I can't have any attachments
Because
But
basically they're monks,
they're monks. But okay.
super cool monks. But
No, when I was talking to my buddy at work about this, he's like, okay, I read this. All right. He's like, so you can't be married. You can't have any attachments. But that doesn't say you can't get it on. As long as you can separate feeling from all that, then that's
wait,
fine.
Is that I don't really. Is that why Anakin Skywalker's character? He loves Queen Amidala.
Oh, yeah.
Is that her name?
Yeah.
That was his downfall.
But
his attachment.
Padme.
He couldn't be with her because of his attachment to the Jedi.
Well, yeah, those were the rules. Like you cannot, because your mind needs to be clear in order to manipulate the Force.
Yeah.
Okay. So you cannot, when those types of things come in, it disturbs it and it just makes everything super crazy. And so, yeah, just as a rule, Jedi, if you're going to be a Jedi Knight, you have to basically leave behind all possessions and just and attachments.
So is that why Luke Skywalker was so successful? Is that the one like love interest that he potentially had turned out to be his sister? He's like, yes, I'm home free. Like,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even like. You watch that again. Like, there's like the moment where she kisses him, and he just looks at Han like. But I don't think she was ever a love interest.
or maybe that's why he ended up on that island alone in the later movies, because he was just like, man, I need to work through some shiz. It's like, I got put in
some issues.
the weirdest situation in my life.
But yeah, I would be a Jedi. I'd have the lightsaber. I'd be doing all sorts of cool stuff. I'd be fighting in the Clone Wars and just killing a bunch of things.
So it's interesting because, yes, that was one of my main choices, but it was my main choice. So I broke down my main choices into 4 subsets, right? So I have the subset of you're either an extra or you're a primary. This goes back to the Matrix, but in actual matrices, if you want to. Because you can either be an extra or you can be the primary character, and it's either good for you or it's bad for you, right? So this fell under, if you were to do the Matrix thing, it would be under the good universe to be an extra in. So you would want to be
I'd want to be a main character.
And the reason that I chose an extra is, yes, it would be cool to be a Jedi and stuff, but this is the one universe that I could see myself just being like a regular guy.
But what if you got
Living
stuck
in-
on freaking Tatooine or some lame planet where you're just
Yeah, I'm not saying that I want to be like impoverished in this universe. I'm just saying like a middle class dude.
or like, what if you're there and you're Watto? You're that stupid little
I'm
penis nosed
assuming
dude.
I get to pick. Like, if you're picking that you get to be a main character, I get to pick which extra character I want.
I don't know. I don't think you get to pick the extra. You're just thrust in there.
But the reason that I would pick it and be fine as being an extra is, yes, it would be super cool to be a Jedi and to be able to control the Force and have all that power. But honestly, it would be a life that would be, you would be able to travel interstellarly. You would be able to go from planet to planet. You could spend your whole life like experiencing like all these different planets and people and species and whatever.
You can do that as a Jedi.
Yeah, you could, but I'm saying like I was trying to keep one universe for each of these subsets, right? And so if I had to pick one universe that I would be the most okay being like just a middle class dude in, it would be Star Wars, because it could be like a super awesome life even if you were an extra in that world. And I would just do what I could to avoid the, what do they call the Empire? But yeah, I called it the Evil Empire, but do they have another name for it? Like, I swear they were something else originally.
Sith?
No.
Sith Lords.
Because, like, they were rebels.
Yeah.
So, and they had a different name, but it was like the Republic.
Yeah.
Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, just avoid that. And I would just be off, like, on the outskirts, traveling to planets that they were, like, not interested in at the time. So that's my reasoning. Steve, would you want to live in Star Wars or not, or why?
Yeah.
All right.
No,
more compelling. That's really good information, content right there.
I don't know. I kind of see Trav's point about being a Jedi.
I mean, if I'm going to go in there, I'm going
Gonna
full
be
fledged.
it seems like a dangerous world, though.
It is.
But
It's
maybe
dangerous.
that's just
That's a
the
risk I'm
small
willing
part
to
of the
take.
world that the movies show you.
I mean,
is
I
the
think it's a
dangerous part.
dangerous world if you're a Jedi. But while he's off fighting all kinds of battles and stuff, I'm just chilling on a beach on some beach planet.
That's what Luke Skywalker's parents thought. But
Yeah.
you know what happened to them? They're just chilling in their house. They're like farmers.
Well, that
or
was
whatever
his
on Tatooine.
uncle and aunt.
or uncle.
His
I
parents.
got around to the Tashi station, get some power converters.
Dad just so happened to be Darth Vader, and his mom was Queen Amidala.
Padme.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's but I can see your point about being an extra. If you could guarantee my safety, I could just travel, have middle class income, so I could.
See, and that's
I'd
the
be
thing.
happy to just turn on the news and be like, oh, like another cool Jedi, like.
See, that's the
not
thing.
be one of those weird
I'm
creatures.
sitting here thinking, I'm like, you know what? If I'm living in this world, like, I don't want to be hoping I'm middle class. like, oh please, please be.
Well,
I don't want to be.
or don't you? Or do you just have to take whatever you get?
Well, I'm not saying that.
Because, like, if you think about it, in the Star Wars world, if it was just random, probably the human beings in that world make up, like, less than 1% of the universal population.
Yeah.
So you'd probably have a very good chance of not being human.
Or at least like a clone. There's a lot of them.
Yeah.
That is true.
You could just be a
But see, I
freaking
wouldn't wanna be.
stormtrooper.
I want to be one. I want to be a Jedi. So I'm picking a Jedi.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not necessarily picking a Jedi. It's just that they're a main character. So if I'm going to be a main character rather than
Not all Jedis are main characters. There's some, like, extra.
Okay, so I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi or I'm...
Well, but what I guess Steve's saying is like, if we as can't pick what extra we want to be, right? So like we just get a random draw of the extras. If we randomly drew you a main character, like you could be Jar Jar Binks.
That would be horrible.
Yeah. So that would suck. So I'm saying if you get to pick a main character, we get to pick extras. Rules on the fly.
Nah.
All right. Anything else with Star Wars?
No, that was pretty much
Okay.
it.
So, well, since you already took that one, and Steve already mentioned Jurassic Park, which was my subset of bad universe to be an extra in. So we've done two of my universes, good and bad for extras.
Good universe to be bad and bad to be bad. We have yet to find a good to be good.
So if we want to go into the subsect of good universe that I would want to be a star in, that would be Fast and the Furious. Would be where I would want to reside.
Okay.
You look at me as if like that's a ridiculous answer.
It's not a ridiculous answer. I'm just trying to understand it.
Okay, so the reason that first of all, freaking, it's straight up awesomeness all the time, like in this universe. So if I go in and I want to be a main character, because if I'm a main character, I'm automatically going to be super good looking in this universe, and I'm going to hang out with like really good looking people all the time. Like no matter what I do, where I go, it's going to be like supermodels, super buff dudes that I don't care about that. But they would just be...
I don't care who's there. Just as long as we're all good looking. I need some super buff dudes as well as some supermodels. Like all of it.
Well, I'm saying like, I mean, there's plenty to go around. Like I need to have like good friends that are strong that can get my back too, you know. But yeah, but then I get to just drive around in awesome cars. And if we've learned one thing from this universe is that the laws of physics don't apply to main characters. So I could do amazing feats with no fear of repercussion that something's going to go wrong.
See, I think this
could
would be
literally drive between buildings and land perfectly on the next floor of the next building.
See, this would be kind of one of those universes where I'd be fine just being an extra because of like nothing literally would change except for I'd catch on the news just a high speed chase with some crazy cars every once in a while. It would literally not affect me one bit.
But that's why why would I switch to this universe if I'm just going to be an extra? Why don't I just
I'm not
stay in
saying
this
I would
one?
want, I'm just saying like if I had to,
If I'm going to be in this universe.
I like my current universe as I am sitting.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, sure, I'd maybe, create myself more money and stuff, but, I like it. So, I wouldn't necessarily
I
change
can
a
see
lot.
that. But yeah, for flat out, as I put it on my show, on my notes, because I always have notes for every show, is like basically life is one big amazing action-filled party. Just that would be your life, and you would love it.
You would like family.
Yeah.
I'm Dom.
See, I would want to be a main character, and part of me would want to be Dom because he's pretty badass in that movie. But part of me kind of would really like Dom to be like my brother because I would want a cool brother like that. Like,
Thanks, man.
No, my brothers aren't cool enough. Vin Diesel, will you be my brother?
that came out wrong. Like a cool older brother because I didn't get experience like an older brother.
I don't want to be Dom. I want my brother to be Dom. He sucks right now. Like he's not cool. He's not a sweet, bald-headed, chiseled abs. Like that's what I wanted a brother.
All right, so Steve, did you have?
I was just gonna say, what's the bad universe to be a main character. Did you already do that one?
I haven't done that one yet, but I want to give you guys the opportunity to, if you guys had any others.
Basically, all I have left is I have some a quick list. We don't really have to discuss them, but just was going to list them off like here at the end. Just universes that I would not like to live in, either as a main character or
an
just
extra.
just an extra, just straight up want no part of it.
Okay, what would that be?
You want all of them?
Oh, I don't care. You're the one. You can name what you want.
Well, tell me.
Or do
your-
you want me to
Yeah,
do-
just go with your
Oh,
last
okay.
one, and then we'll go.
Did you
that
have
way.
any others saved? Because you said you had two main ones.
Yeah, that's it. I've done mine. I do have one question to pose to the group later.
Okay. All right. So my fourth and final subset would be bad universe to be a star in or main character in. And that universe would be Saw.
Yes, yes, it would be.
Because flat out, first of all, if you're a main character in Saw, you probably did something wrong in your past, and you probably have to live with that guilt already. And if that's not bad enough, you are gonna assuredly just be freaking captured and tortured for your wrongdoings. That you will be like, I don't even know what I did. Like, I don't know specifically what you're capturing or torturing me for. And if I do somehow get lucky enough to survive, I'm going to be scarred for life. I will have PTSD forever.
You have to chop your own foot off.
And then I even try to be like, okay, look, to be fair, if it was random, because mostly if you're a main character in Saw, you're going to be one of the tortured beings, right?
Yeah.
But like, let's say you got lucky enough to be not one of the tortured beings, but you got to be the game master or whatever. Is that his name in the movie?
Jigsaw.
Oh, Jigsaw.
The game master.
But best case scenario, you're Jigsaw and you're freaking like this small, sick, sadistic man who's wearing some kind of weird mask all the time and rides around on a tricycle.
The actual man does not wear that.
Oh, I thought that was the actual guy.
No, that's just a prop.
I didn't really like that movie, so I didn't watch it very closely. Because I was like, if I really thought about this, I'm like, why is this guy so freaking upset with the world? And I'm like, actually, if I was a small statured man that wore a weird,
It's a puppet.
wore a weird mask all the time and had to ride a tricycle, like it would freaking take me forever to get home, like in rush hour traffic, and I would probably be pissed too.
That's why he's just a gamer. He just loves playing video games. He's riding his trike and he's like, I want to play a game. I want to play a game. Stupid traffic.
Come on, I've been in traffic, LA traffic for 4 hours.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't want to be in Saw.
But yeah, I just think
completely
Saw
concur.
would be like a terrible universe to be in as a main character. Like if you're like an extra, you probably wouldn't even know this is going on.
Awesome. All right. Well, so mine just kind of all follow that whole bad universe, bad whatever. And so to start out, pretty much anything post-apocalyptic. So, I mean, we're talking like Hunger Games, Mad Max, Maze Runner, etc. Like anything like that, I don't want it. Like,
Because like all you're trying to do is like
Survive.
you're literally trying to survive. Like,
your ultimate goal is to get back to like where your life is now, and you already have that life. So why would you go through the trouble of having to like go through all that to get back there?
Great movies, things like that, but I don't want to live there. So that's one. Aliens.
Yeah, that one would be freaky.
That whole just the whole idea of it. I love the Alien movies, the Alien trilogy. Well, it's more than that, but the prequels and all that. But those
that
freaking xenomorphs.
That extends into Predator and that universe.
I guess they've kind of merged those with those movies, but I kind of look at that as like almost like a separate, even though they're together.
Yeah. You can look at it that way, but
it doesn't matter.
True.
It doesn't matter. I don't want to be there.
Either way, whether
Either
it's Predator or a xenomorph
Yeah.
that's after you.
Yep. Don't want that. Also, any and all horror movies. So, again, I like horror movies. Don't want to live in them. And then
Fair.
finally, Lord of the Rings. Now, some people will be like, what? Lord of the Rings? I'm like, yeah. Can you imagine living in a very limited world, by the way? Like, it's like the Shire and Mordor. Like, and anything in between. Okay?
I mean, obviously, wherever, like, the two ends of the spectrum are, like, within walking distance. Like, it's a long walk.
Well, it is. It is. But, like, it's...
But there's the land of the elves, and then there's, like, where the dwarves live.
Yeah, no, it is a massive land, but as opposed to, like, the globe and the world, like, it might be, like...
It fits in, like, New Zealand.
Yeah.
Because that's where they filmed it.
Well, yes, that is true.
Maybe it's really just an island and they don't know.
Okay, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, maybe they don't know. But their world is constantly on the verge of just annihilation.
All right, side question. If you had to live in that world, would you be a human, an elf, or a dwarf?
I would be an elf and live in Arendelle.
I would also be an elf. Steve?
My number 2 would then be
Or a hobbit.
I would
guess
be a
that's the
hobbit and live
fourth.
in the Shire. One of those two. And
Where do
only
the humans live?
So what? Humans are... I mean, they live in, like, castles and stuff.
There you go.
Okay, I'll be human.
But, like, here's the other flip side of this, and we won't go into much depth of this because we go on forever about this, but why? So when they go through the whole story, right, like about the ring being created and they forged it, and then they had the 3 different beings, like the elves, the dwarves, and the humans that had to make it, like, they each got a ring or several rings.
There's a
or
lot more than
whatever.
3, but
There's 3 main subsects, right? But the hobbits weren't one of them. So where do the hobbits fit in? Like, why they're not humans?
not every single being got a ring.
Well, what else is there? What other beings?
There were
are
like
there?
7. There were like 7 rings, but they didn't go to like the. Now I could be totally wrong. So if you're listening to this and you're like a huge fan of Lord of the Rings and we're just butchering this, so sorry.
Correct us. Like, let us know how we're wrong. But like, the elves got so many of the rings, the dwarves got so many, and the humans got so many, right?
I guess.
Like, the humans got 1, I think.
Well, nobody wants to give anything to the hobbits.
I'm just saying, like,
They're not
why
a
is it
part of
fair?
it. They're never a part of anything.
But they're the ones that have to, like, save everything.
Well, and yeah, but just the few. But like normal, just regular hobbits, they want nothing. They do not want adventures. They just want to sit there with no shoes and their big old hairy feet.
I don't know. Ask Bilbo Baggins. He might have said something different.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Most of them don't, except for the few.
Oh.
But no, I'd be an elf in Arendelle and hopefully not have to go to battle much. Maybe be one of those bow and arrow guys that just gets to sit away, like far away.
Yeah. Well, I would,
Shoot.
I'd want to be like Legolas, for sure. Just like really cool, bad A with a bow and arrow. But you live a long time. You're like superior being to everything else.
But still,
It's like really not fair.
I'm okay. Like I'm really okay not living in
Lord of the Rings.
yeah.
Well, so actually one that I didn't write down, but I did think about because you brought it up is the whole horror thing, but specifically, and the reason I didn't put it in here is because I didn't know if it quite qualified for our criteria, but there would be Japanese horror films, i.e. The Ring.
Yeah, no,
The
none
Grudge.
of that.
But the reason that I would for sure not want to live in those universes is when it comes to Japanese horror, there is no escaping it. There is no end.
No.
Like, you cannot defeat the evil no matter what you do. Like, you can escape it for a day or a week or a month, but eventually the grudge will get you.
Yep.
So I would hate to be constantly on the run.
Yep. No, wouldn't want that either. So
Yeah.
All right, what was your question, Steve?
So my question was, if you could merge any 2 universes, what universes would you merge or want to be together?
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I don't know. That would be one I'd have to think of it, but
Yeah, I mean, I probably could change this, but right now I'm going to go with my good on good and say I would merge Fast and the Furious with Star Wars. And it would just be like,
But it'd have to be like make logical sense.
yeah, I would be doing cool tricks in spaceships, with like hot beings from all kinds of planets.
If there's anything we know about Danny from anything that we've recorded is that he loves humanoids. Like they're like not even like
No,
regular
not
humans.
just-
Just as long as they look like a human, he digs it.
Not just any humanoid. They have to be good looking,
Good looking
attractive,
humanoids.
female humanoids.
Well, or I guess let's put it this way: like, what two universes do you think Hollywood could combine and it make sense, and people be like, "Oh,
Marvel
didn't know that."
and Star Wars.
Well, that you would think that like would definitely be a possibility because they're owned by the
same
same
thing.
company now.
Well, yeah, but they weren't.
Well, I know, but I'm saying now it's a very
I
logical.
know. That's what I'm
possibility.
saying. It would be
sense.
cool
Could
to
you
see
do
it.
part of
I'm
Could you
saying-
imagine
I'm
like
agreeing
Star
with
Lord
you.
walking in, and then all of a sudden like friggin' Anakin. When Anakin was a whiner. Luke.
Or like Star Lord has to fight the Sith all of a
Yes.
sudden. He's just like. But then you could have like this weird battle where the Sith comes in with his double-sided lightsaber, and Anakin now, or not Anakin, Star Lord somehow gets to control that arrow that his stepdad gave him, and he's like, I can't whistle, but. But you could see this like arrow like but the Sith is like fighting it off. It would be a cool battle.
Yeah.
I think you could.
I don't know
throw
why I
in,
just picked that random battle, but I did.
Could throw in aliens.
Nope.
Space related.
Nope. I told you I don't want it. Like
No,
those
I'm saying, would that
xenomorphs freak
would that
me
make
out.
sense if aliens somehow was like in the Star Wars?
It just like sucks to your face.
I don't know. I mean, it does because they're both in space, but it doesn't really fit like the tempo and like the way the movies feel. I guess. Like I think you would want like almost like if you're gonna cross them, you don't have to, but I would assume you like if you're crossing PG-13 universes, you could do that, but it'd be harder to cross
Yeah, that's
like
true.
a rated R universe.
What about
with a,
What about Back to the Future? Because Star Wars was a long time, like right,
Yeah.
long ago in a galaxy
far,
far,
far
far
away.
away. But it turns
But-
out to be just Hilldale area.
how? I was gonna say, how would he get to the far away galaxy? Because even in his flying DeLorean, that would freaking
I think
take
that'd
forever.
be a good
There
movie.
is no
It's like,
galaxy.
oh.
It's literally just Hilldale. You can't go beyond the outskirts of Hilldale.
You try to leave the city, you just like run into like an invisible wall.
Freaking clock. The clock tower.
Or
Yep.
you just go like it's like Pac-Man. You leave, but you just re-enter the other side.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, we're going to wrap up here. Let us know what you guys would think. Like, what cinematic universe would you prefer to live in? Why? You can catch us and let us know on our social media sites, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, QCO Podcast. We also have a website, which is QCOpodcast.com. And don't forget to check us out on YouTube and subscribe. And,
And please, I mean, I know we ask this every single episode, but I'm going to make another point of it is we just love stars. Hence, we both picked Star Wars. So if we could just
It'll
get
rate
some
you some stars.
5-star ratings on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, is what it's called now, that would be great.
yep. Thanks, guys. Catch you next week.